Hello everyone and welcome to this follow-up tutorial. In the last video I showed you how to create the depth of field effect inside of Lightwave 3D, and although we were satisfied with the result, we were a little bit concerned about the render times because in order to get a smooth image, Lightwave required us to increase the sample number quite a lot. Today I'm going to be showing you a quick little trick on how to get the same depth of field effect by doing most of the work in comp. But in order to do that, we have to go to layout first. So open up your scenes and I'll see you there in a second. Well, we're here in layout and yes, you got me. We are going to be using the very same scene from the last tutorial because I feel a little bit lazy at the moment. So yeah, this one's gonna be fine, so don't worry about it. Well, what are we doing exactly in layout? Well, we need to create what is called a depth map. A depth map is a black and white image that is going to be displaying, obviously, black and white values relating the distance of the objects over in our scene relative to the position of our camera. And we're going to be using that image later in After Effects or in our comp software to get the depth of field effect once again. So first things first, we need to get rid of the depth of field effect we added in the previous tutorial. So simply open the camera properties panel and let's go to the depth of field panel and simply uncheck the depth of field option. So the depth of field is not available anymore. If you render this image, let's turn on the VTR, you will see that we don't have the depth of field effect running anymore. So now that we turn that off, we can change some stuff in the render level. So I'm going to decrease this because we don't need it to be so high anymore. And well, in order to get the Zdepth, there are a variety of methods, and you can actually find some great tutorials here on YouTube, but I'm going to go with the simplest and easiest way for me, which is that I'm going to be using the Z buffer that you can find under the effects panel. So you come here to the effects panel by pressing Ctrl F8 in your keyboard, and you come here to the processing tab, and in here in the processing tab you're going to come here to the compositing buffer export. Now the compositing buffer export is going to offer you the option to render different passes from your scene. So in this case, I'm going to look for the Zdepth option. So simply look here on the list, and man, I can't find it. Geometry, shading, depth. Here it is. So all I'm gonna do is to check here, and all that is left is to render the scene. So let's do that. Oh, I don't think you guys want to watch this, so I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back here as soon as it finishes. Well, here is my final render, and as you can see, it only took 1 minute and 16 seconds. Last render took 12 minutes to complete. Now, if you check over here in the layers option, you will see that we have a depth render. This is the render that our buffer created, and in here you can see what I was actually talking about, which is that the depth map, it's simply a black and white image that is going to assign black and white values to the objects in our scene relative to the position of the camera. Now all we have to do now is to save our images and to open the compositing software that we're going to be using. In this case, it's going to be After Effects. So open up your program and I'll see you there in a second. Well, here we are in After Effects, and I hope you guys are following along. I already loaded up the two renders we got from Lightwave, which are the regular color render and the depth pass from the compositing buffer export. So let's create a new comp, and in that comp we're going to drop both of our images. Now, if you are an experienced After Effects user, you might be concerned about the order of the layers, but in this case, although this layer is going to be controlling the appearance of the effect, it doesn't matter where we put it. Now, to create our depth of field, we have to add an effect called camera lens blur that is going to be available for us under the blur and sharpen group. And as soon as I add this effect, you can see that it is already affecting our image. I'm going to increase the blur radius value so you get to see it a little bit better. And well, yes, this is adding some blur to our image, but this is not exactly what we want, because this blur is being applied in a uniform manner, and we want to use the depth map we created before to have some areas sharp and to have some areas blurry. To do that, we have to come here to the blur map option, and from the layers panel, select the layer where the Zdepth map is located. And now we can see how it's affecting the image. We have the front object sharp and the objects towards the back blurry. And if we look at our depth map, that means that whatever pixels are black or closer to the black color are going to be sharp, and whatever pixels are white or closer to white color are going to be blurry. You can actually modify this by inverting the blur map directly in the effect. This means, as soon as I check this means that whatever pixels are white are now going to be sharp, and whatever pixels are black or closer to black color are going to be blurry. That depends on what you want to do. Now, I want to concentrate on the blur focal distance over here, because this is the part that is going to allow us to hover or to concentrate or to change our focal point in different objects. So I'm going to change the focal distance over here, and now the center object is sharp and the object in the front and the object in the back are blurry. And if I keep moving this slider, now the object on the back is going to be sharp and the other objects are going to be blurry. That is because the effect is moving across the range of the luminance values of the depth map, so we can change our focal point. You can actually animate this value by clicking on the stopwatch to the left. So last but not least, you can see that I'm going to increase this value so you get to see it better, that we're having a little issue towards the border. And that happens because After Effects doesn't have enough pixels to reference to keep blurring this image. To fix this, we have to come here to the edge behavior option and check on the repeat edge pixels checkbox. That is going to solve that issue. And let's get this one back to 25. And that's how we get the depth of field inside After Effects. One final note in this topic. The reason for doing this in composition, in this case in After Effects, is not only because the render times are going to be faster, but also because of the amount of control you have of the final result. In this case, you can actually modify this image before even applying the camera lens blur effect to get different results. Just remember that whatever effect you apply to the Zdepth map has to be pre-composed before applying the camera lens blur effect. Well, I hope this was useful to all of you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, where you will be able to find some other useful tutorials. If you have any questions regarding this topic, don't hesitate to ask me, and I hope to see you next time.